श्री गुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। Last week, Srimati Sita Devi hovered on the Pushpaka Vimana, taking stock of the horrible condition in which Sri Ramachandra and Lakṣmaņa were, pierced with innumerable arrows, soaked in blood, and had lost their consciousness. And Sita Devi, wailing to Trijata, said, how can all the Brahmanas who are experts at looking at someone's chart all lie? How is it possible? The language she uses, they've all gone wrong. They've all gone wrong. That's the language of a woman in pain. But the hidden meaning is that they cannot be wrong. Now, because those words cannot be wrong, but she's seeing something, she is in shock. And thankfully, Trijata tells her, gives her all the indications why Rama and Lakshmana are not dead. But this is just the influence of Indrajit's trickery. And she gives her reasons. We went through all that. Something to note is previously, when Yuddha brought these mystical heads that looked just like Sri Ramachandra's and Lakshmana's and threw it in front of Sita Devi on the order of Ravana, along with the mighty bows that these two heroes would carry, Sita Devi was in tremendous shock. How is it possible that valorous Ramachandra and his valorous brother Lakshmana can be killed like this? At that time, Sarama told her, no, this is just a phantom head. This is Vidyut trickery. So both Sarama and Trijata have come to her aid at very, very important times. So this chapter that we were discussing last time, chapter 48, ends with Sita Devi entering back Ashokavana and sitting down in great sadness. Pravishya Sita Bahuvruksha Khandam Tam Rakshasendrasya Vihara Bhumim Sampreksha Sanchintya च राजपुत्रो परम विषादम samupajagama. The language is very, very sweet. Very literally, it means Pravishya Sita Bahuvruksha Khandam Tam Rakshasendrasya Vihara Bhumim. She entered that great place which had clusters of wonderful trees, which was Rakshasa Indrasya, the king of the Rakshasas, Ravana's Vihara Bhumi, place of pleasure movements. Sampreksha Santyacharaja Putro. Previously, she just saw and examined Ramachandra and Lakshmana, Rajaputro, both of them, and Sanchintya. She was worried about them. Param Vishadam. We know the word Vishada because the Bhagavad Gita begins with Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vishada means despondency, despair. Param Vishadam Samupajagama. Jagama means to begin to go, or Samupajagama means helplessly entered. She entered the place of Ravana's pleasure movements. Yet, having seen Rama and Lakshmana, she's not happy in that place of relish and joy and frolic and fun and excitement. Rather, Vishadam Samupajagama. So her thoughts of Sita, her thoughts of Rama and Lakshmana made her, although physically she has entered the garden of Ravana's joy or pleasure, in her heart she has entered the great despair, entered a great despair. Samupajagama. The poetry is fascinating. That means a person can be physically in one situation, but internally they may be feeling severe, in this case, separation from Rama and Lakshmana. Now, the word we're going to hold on to today is in the previous verse we read, Sampreksha. Preksha is to look, Sampreksha is examine carefully. She saw Rama and Lakshmana very, very carefully. She glanced very carefully at them. Now, back to the other side of Lanka, outside of the boundary walls of Lanka, where all the Vanaras have surrounded Rama and Lakshmana and they are completely out of their wit what to do. Because Rama and Lakshmana have been bound by these Nagastras, Sarpas, Nagas, owing to Indrajit's very, I guess, call it black magic or trickery, because he fought with them invisible. Ghorena Sharabandhena Baddhau Dasharathatmajau. Ghorena Sharabandhena. Sharabandha, Shara is arrows. They are bound by very, very ghora, ghastly arrows. Who were bound? Dasharatha Atmaja, the two loving sons of Dasharatha. Nishwasanto Yatha Nagau. And they were exhaling like serpents. Shayano Rudhirokshito. And they are lying down soaked in blood. Rudhira, blood. Soaked in blood on a bed of arrows. Sarve te vanara sreshtaha Sugriva Mahabalaha. All those mighty vanaras, Hanuman, Angada, Jambavan, Shushena, Sharabha, Mainda, Dvivida, Gavaksha, the whole list of them, they are surrounding Parivarya, they are surrounding around Rama and Lakshmana, Mahatmana, the great two warriors, Tatastu, Shoka, Paripluta. They are so gone with or filled with anxiety, lamentation, sadness as to what happened to these two. Valmiki says, Etasminantare Ramaha Pratyabudhyata Viryavan Sthiratvat Sattvayogacha Sharaihi Sandanito Apisan. In the meantime, etasmin antare, in a few moments, in the meantime, Ramachandra, due to his own power, and Viryavan, because he is very mighty, woke up, came out of this trance, came out of this condition of being unconscious. Now, Valmiki gives us that on his own, pratyabudhyata means he returned to consciousness. Sthiratvat sattva sharaihi. Sattva yogat, out of his own strength, sattva. Sattva is presence, is strength. The question is something that's not spoken, and our acharyas, especially Govindaraj and others, tell us. If Ramachandra was so strong, which by the way he is, what made him become subjugated to Indrajit's arrows? The answer is because he is in this mentality of a human being. Atmanam Purusham Manye. Ravana, although very intelligent, supposedly, actually is very dull minded. Intelligence works in two ways. One, when intelligence is guided by spiritual desires, we call it seva bhava. And then there is intelligence that is fostered by kama bhava, lust. This sense of, now lust doesn't necessarily only include sexually charging type of lust, but lust means the sense of wanting to own something that's not ours. So intelligence is fueled by either of these two. When it is fueled by prema, by love, intelligence tells us all the ways and means by which to model ourselves in a way that our relationship with the Lord is strengthened, vardhati. When fueled by karma or lust or exploitation, or call it selfishness, whatever you want to call it, same thing, the intelligence works very hard to see how we are in the center of things, how we are benefited materially. Ravana is like that. 10 heads. One head can give so much intelligence. Imagine 10 heads. He was driven by lust. What did he do? He told Trijata, take Sita on Pushpaka Vimana, let her see Rama, and when she says Rama and Lakṣmaņa are dead, she will come to me and become my queen. I don't even need to coerce her at all. Because his spiritual intelligence is not working, Krishna says that lust, when it covers the intelligence, intelligence doesn't work spiritually speaking. Because the way Krishna tells Arjuna at the end of third chapter is Evam Buddha Param Buddhe. Param Buddhe is when lust is removed and service mindedness or prema enters. Then, because we want to see Krishna and Sri Ramachandra in the center, intelligence works differently. Prabhupada translates it as transcendental intelligence. Ravana's was not. He thought when Sita sees Rama and Lakshmana, she will feel so lost that she has no shelter because Rama and Lakshmana are gone. She will come running into my arms because he has no knowledge, proper knowledge. Actually, Ramachandra and now Lakshmana will all come back to consciousness, especially Ramachandra here because Lakshmana is still not conscious, is because of her glance upon them. She is the original medicinal herbs. All the medicines have her Shakti in them. Krishna says in 9th chapter, I am the healing herb, Aushadha. But that Shakti is Sita Devi's. Previously, when Sri Ramachandra fought with Kharadushana Trishiras and killed 14,000 demons, his body was pierced, lanced, cut by all the weapons and arrows that the Rakshasas, 14,000 Rakshasas, had thrown on him, at him. And then he came to that cave where Lakshmana was guarding Sita Devi, and Sita Devi scans him from top to bottom and then embraces him tightly. We narrated that story and the reasons there. But at that time, we had also said that one of the things that when she embraces him, all his wounds have become healed. So here also, by her glance, Ramachandra has come back to consciousness. He's still bound by the arrows, but he has come back to consciousness. Now he turns and sees Lakshmana. Seeing Lakshmana bathed in blood, Ramachandra's face becomes down with sadness. And he begins to lament very, very piteously. He says, "What is the use of me fighting all this war and gaining Sita? What is the use of me having life in my body if I have lost a brother like Lakshmana? There is no use, there's no purpose." And in that sadness, he says, "A consort like Sita, I can find anywhere in the universe. But such a helpful and powerful protective brother like Lakshmana, I cannot find in the universe. He's very, very special." What I'm going to do, as these Vanaras are looking at me and looking at Lakshmana, if Lakshmana is not going to come back to life, I will let my life heirs and the five elements of my body mix with the universe's five elements. What am I going to go? Because what is the use of me going back to Ayodhya? What will I tell Kausalya? And what on earth can I tell Kaikeyi? How is it possible that I will have any words to console Sumitra, who among all the three wholeheartedly sent her son? Because when I'm speaking to her and she will be trembling like a female osprey, Kurari, that has lost her child, what am I going to say? Why should I go back to Ayodhya? There's no use. What will I tell Shatrughna, his twin brother, and Bharata, that I've come back to Ayodhya without our dear brother Lakshmana? I won't be able to endure that blame that will come to me, that you could not, you're the older brother, you're like a father. You were not able to take care of your son, Lakshmana, son like. Now, there's no use. I'm going to give up my body. There is no need for me to be alive and survive. I'm very sinful. It is because of my sinful activity that Lakshmana is in this condition right now. Then he turned towards Lakshmana, who's still unconscious. "You always comforted me whenever I felt dejected or sore." And there are so many occasions, so many occasions. And today, Lakshmana, you're not able to speak to me. Even though I am in such distress, you're not opening your eyes and mouth and looking at me and telling me, "Ramachandra, no need to feel sad at all." As powerful and warrior like you are, today you're struck down, fallen on the ground, and the Rakshasas have killed you. Even Ramachandra is under the opinion that Lakshmana is dead. You are lying down on this bed of arrows, your body completely bathed in blood, red color from head to toe. You're now looking like a bundle of arrows, and your body is red like the reddishness of the sun that is entering the western horizon. And there are so many cuts on your body and blood oozing out of all these cuts. Your chest, your arms, your face, your every vital part of your body has been pierced with arrows. And you're not speaking a word, your eyes are all reddish. Just as Lakshmana has entered the realm of death, I will also go into the realm of death. Lakshmana loved all of his family very, very much. He was very devoted to me. And though he has reached this state of condition, is because of me. I cannot remember even once Lakshmana uttering slightly harsh words at all or anything unpalatable. Even when Lakshmana was deeply provoked. A good lesson to learn from Lakshmana, after all, is Guru Tattva. And I will repeat this verse. This is verse number 19. Surushtena api वीरेण लक्ष्मणेन न संस्मरे पुरुषं विप्रियं चापि श्रावितं तु कदाचन. Kadachana, not even, na kadachana, never have I heard. Surushtena api, Lakshmana has not behaved or spoken harshly. Surushtena. Virena Lakshmanena Parusham Vipriyam. Parusham, he has never been harsh or cruel or behaved in a bad way or spoken an unpalatable word. Vipriyam chapi shravitam, even if he was subjected and provoked, he never uttered anything like that. Lakshmana could shoot 500 arrows in one stretch. So he is superior to Kartavira Arjuna. This is Ramachandra's word. That same Lakshmana who could tear off all the missiles coming at him even from Indra, today is lying down on the bare ground, poked all over by arrows. Now, Vibhishana, even before I could enthrone Vibhishana as the king of Lanka, this is my plight. So people will think I have just speaking useless words, babble. No doubt people will think Ramachandra's words have no value. Sugriva, I think you should return back to Kishkindha. Because if you don't go, Ravana will kill you also. Take Angada, take Nala, Neela, and just the way we cross the ocean on the bridge, all of you cross back and go back to Kishkindha. There is no point in being here at all. Don't think that nothing worthwhile came. You've done fantastic service. The whole idea of putting on a bridge and crossing it and fighting, all of you Vanaras are fantastic. I am so satisfied by Jambavan, Gavaksha, the king of all the Golangulas. All of you, Angada, Mainda, Divivida, even Hanuman and Sampati. Sampati is another Vanara. What you have achieved is unbelievable. And then he is word by word, person by person saying, Gavaya, Gavaksha, Sharava, Gaja, you have sacrificed or willing to sacrifice your life for me. But there is one thing that we should all remember, Ramachandra is saying. One cannot go beyond what is destined. You can only act within your destiny. So, as friends and allies, you have accomplished all that you came for. But I'm asking you to go back to to Kishkinda. Now, when Ramachandra says you cannot do anything beyond destiny, that's correct. Unless there is descending mercy. Up until that point, whatever has to happen, has to happen. Na cha atikramitum shakyam daivam. Sugriva, oh Sugriva, you cannot go beyond the boundaries of what is destined. I'm speaking to you. Now, when Ramachandra spoke like this, Shushruvustasya ye sarve vanaraha paridevitam vartayam cha vartayam chakrirer shruni netraihi krishnotarekshanaha. All the monkeys that had black big eyes started filling up fully with tears. Vartayam chakrire ashruni, not shruni, ashruni, tears. They are sad to hear Ramachandra's words. Now, one may say they are sad to hear because Ramachandra seems weak. Actually, it is ecstasy of separation in his relationship with Lakṣmaņa. That's his ecstasy. But the real import is the Vanaras are crying because they are being beaten up like anything by the Rakshasas. Yet the moment Ramachandra says, no more service for you, go back to Kishkindha, they are crying. What is the use of such a life of sitting in Kishkinda, eating fruit and honey, when there is greater joy and ecstasy in dying for you? Sri Ramachandra, you're asking us to go back. And that brings heavy tears in their eyes. Elsewhere, Vibhishana went to settle down all the Vanara armies and he was returning to where Ramachandra is. These Vanaras have so much tears in their eyes and they look at Vibhishana who's big, mighty, dark colored and coming at a rushing way towards Ramachandra's. The monkeys thought it is Ravana. Or it is Ravana's great warriors, and the monkeys got so scared that they started to scatter everywhere. And Sugriva said, what happened? Why is my army suddenly, you know how monkeys are, they're sitting and suddenly they're scared or something happens, then they make all this chattering noise and they scatter. So as soon as Sugriva asked this question, Angada said, you see, Rama and Lakṣmaņa bathed in blood, lying down on the floor, and they are in this condition. So then Sugriva said, I don't think the stampede is because of this. The way the monkeys are scattering, there must be some other danger. This is not the reason, Angada. There must be something else. Their faces are all downcast, their eyes are in terror, and the monkeys are actually fleeing in all directions, like they are flailing their arms. There must be some other, they're afraid of something. And in the time, Vibhishana comes there with his gada in his hand. And he came to cheer Sugriva and Rama, saying, Jai, Jai, we will win this war. Now, when they saw Vibhishana, Sugriva understood it is because of Vibhishana that they're all scared. They have so much tears in their eyes and they are bewildered that they didn't recognize Vibhishana is one of ours. They thought he was one of the Rakshasas. So then Sugriva tells Jambavan, it is because Vibhishana is here, they all thought this was Indrajit. And in that panic, they ran because they were thinking, if Indrajit can do this to Rama and Lakṣmaņa, who are we? We're very tiny. As long as Rama and Lakṣmaņa are there, These same monkeys have so much power, fearlessness that they can claw, bite, scratch, kick the Rakshasas without any weapons in their hands. But the moment Rama and Lakshmana are not there, then there is fear. So, Jambavan, quickly rally all the monkeys back and tell them this is Vibhishana and there is no need to be afraid. It's not Indrajit. So, Jambavan goes and collects all of them back, shakes their fear away from them, and slowly the monkeys retrace their traps and come back to where they were. Now, Vibhishana sees that both of them are so poked with blood. They look like porcupines. You know how porcupines have so many quills in them? You can't see the skin really. That is how Rama and Lakshmana looked. They were poked with so many arrows of Indrajit. They looked like porcupines. The body was reddish in color. So Vibhishana got water in his hands and then wiped Rama's eyes. And Lakshmana's eyes and face to remove that blood from their face. And Vibhishana was crying and he was wailing. He said, "Oh my gosh, these two powerful, powerful princes have been reduced to this condition because the Rakshasas are fighting in the most crafty ways. When I met these two first time, they were so simple hearted. But Ravana's crooked nature has put them into so much distress." Yeah. So here's the word about how they looked like porcupines. Sharair ima avalam. Sharair ima avalam. By a constant barrage of arrows. Viddhau. They look like Rudirena samukshitau. Vasudhayam imau suptau. On the earth, on the ground, both of them are lying down. Drushyete. They look like Shalyakav iva. Shalyaka, Shalyakau, two of them. Shalyaka is a porcupine. Shalyaka iva. Shalyakau iva. Now, Ramachandra had promised me that I would be the king of Lanka, and I was hoping to be the king of Lanka, but that dream will not be fulfilled. In fact, Ravana's son Indrajit has made it possible to Ravana to be continuing to be the emperor and keeping Sita with him. Now, in the middle of this, Vibhishana, who told Ramachandra, Paritatya Maya Lanka, Putrani cha Mitrani cha Dhanani cha, Bhavat Gatam Hime Rajan, Jivitam cha Sukhani cha. That was his words. I have given everything and everyone up. Parityakta Maya Lanka. I have given up Lanka. I have given up my friends. I've given up the comfort of my family. I have given up the comfort of the security of my wealth. Bhavat Gatam Hime Rajan. Oh Ramachandra, you are my king right now. And Ramachandra is not a king. He's in the forest wearing tree bark. But he calls him Rajan. That means you are the king of my heart. You are going to rule my heart from now on. Bhavat Gatam Hime Rajan Jivitani Sukhani Cha. All my life and my happiness is all centered around you. Such a person cannot say, "Oh, I'm not going to be the king of Lanka." So the hidden meaning is when he is sitting in Lanka, he will consider himself a servant of Ramachandra and Lanka will be benefited. And he is crying that such a service opportunity to let the glory of Ramachandra continue into Lanka will be missed. So when Vibhishana is lamenting like this, Sugriva embraces him. He says, "Don't worry, you will become the king of Lanka." In fact, Ravana, along with his son Indrajit, will be killed. In fact, I feel that Rama and Lakshmana their spell, the spell on them that Indrajit has cast will be gone, and very soon you will see Rama and Lakshmana mounted on Garuda, and very quickly they will kill Ravana. So Vibhishana felt a little better, because this is how devotees and friends console each other. Because Krishna says, right, in Bhagavad Gita, Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantascha Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. Tushyanti, they become satisfied. Ramanti, they become so joyful. So they have to speak about Ramachandra. So when Sugriva speaks that, oh, very soon they will be sitting on Garuda and finishing off Ravana, Vibhishana felt a little consoled. Then Sugriva turned to Sushena, his father-in-law, Tara's father. And he says, Sushena, take all the monkeys, take Ramachandra, Lakshmana, and you please return to Kishkinda. I will stay here. I will finish Ravana. And I will bring Sita Devi, the princess of Mithila, back to Kishkinda, so Ramachandra and Sita can be united. Now, after hearing this, Sushena said, Sugriva, many years ago, ages ago, there was a war between the Devatas and Asuras, Suras and Asuras. And I had witnessed that war. What the Rakshasas, the Asuras did is, they also conjured themselves with tricks and magic and became invisible, and they really beat up the Devatas like anything. At that time, sage Brihaspati, the guru of the Devatas, brought back to good health all of the Devatas that were wounded and became unconscious. And those who had lost their lives, Brihaspati, by means of certain prayers and remedies, so mantra and medicine, brought them back to life. And I was there, I know that. So what happens is, what we can do is ask Sampati and Panasa, these two monkeys, to quickly go to the ocean of milk and bring these medicines. And these medicines, Sampati and Panasa, they know which medicine to bring. There is a certain herb, medicines called Sanjeeva Karani. Jeeva Karani means to bring back to life. Sanjeeva Karani, bring back to good health. And Vishalya. The Vishalya means it's capable of healing all the wounds. And these were made by Lord Brahma. On the bank of that ocean are two mountains called Chandra and Drona. And these herbs exist there. Now, these mountains, with full of those herbs, were placed by the demigods there. Now, this Chandra and Drona mountain that has the herbs, along with Sampati and Panasa, Hanuman should go. Ask him to go. And he says, while he's speaking, suddenly the entire sky changed color. There was a gush of wind. Now in India we call it cyclone. Here we call them typhoons, and then we call them hurricanes. And greater is than the hurricanes as these what we call whirlwinds. They call twisters. Uh, Now twisters and all that are in an area, but this entire area became so covered, dark, wind was gushing everywhere, so much so that the sea water became whipped. It was flash, it was shaking, and waves started rising in the ocean, and the mountains began to shake. And this wind all became because of the fluttering of the wings of Garuda. In fact, large trees and mountain peaks started falling into the ocean because of the huge waves of gusts of wind. And all the serpents that were in that area became so scared, all the sea monsters became so scared that they entered deep into the ocean. And suddenly, all of them saw the king of all birds, Garuda, enter the scene. And Garuda was blazing with effulgence like a fire. Garuda came near Rama and Lakṣmana. And as soon as Garuda came, the Naga weapons that were binding Rama and Lakṣmana disappeared. Suddenly, both of them were free of the weapons. Then Garuda touched Rama and Lakṣmana and spoke words of well wishing. And then Garuda, with his hands, wiped the faces of Rama and Lakshmana, now which again started shining like a full moon. Once Garuda touched Rama and Lakshmana, all the wounds on their body immediately went away and their skin became smooth and started having the same glowing splendor as they had before. Their intelligence returned, their memory came back, and their strength became doubled. Then Garuda lifted both Rama and Lakshmana and very lovingly embraced them. So Ramachandra said, "Oh, by your grace, by your mercy upon us, it seems like you have cured us. Hmm? Who are you? Whenever I see you, as soon as I see you, my heart becomes so overjoyed, as if I am meeting Dasharatha or as if I'm meeting my grandfather Aja. So, who are you? I'll read the verses. Bhavat prasadad vyasanam Ravani prabhavam mahat upayena vyaktikrantau shighram cha balinau krutau. Very quickly you have restored us to good health. Yatha tat dasharatham yathajam cha pitamaham तथा भवंतम आसाद्य हृदय में प्रसीदति. Just the same joy I would get by seeing Dasharatha or Aja, my grandfather, I'm having the same joy looking at you. Ko Bhavan Rupa Sampanno Divyastra Gulane Divyastra Galune Galuna Lepanaha Vasano Viraje Vastre Divyabharana Bhushitaha. Who are you? That you are so much charming and you are wearing celestial garlands and your body is smeared with very celestial ointments and you're wearing clothes that are free of any dust and you're wearing all these divine jewels. Then Garuda became so pleased and he said, "Oh Sri Ramachandra, I am Garuda, your beloved friend. Aham sakhate kakutstha priyaha prano bahishcharaha. I am like your life air that moves outside of you. And I've come here to help you." Uh, Demons who are given great strength, even the Devatas accompanied by Gandharvas, if along with Indra they came here, they would not be able to release you from the Nagastras, that Indrajit's mystical power. Now, these snakes that had strong uh, powers to fetter you, to tie you up, were all sons of Kadru, my stepmother. So, you are very, very fortunate that you and Lakshmana, who are very powerful and know fortunate because I'm here. As soon as I heard the news that both of you have been bound by these snake weapons, I came here quickly out of affection for you. Now both of you have been liberated from this weapon. From now on, please be very vigilant of these Rakshasas. They are by nature very, very crafty when they fight in battle. Never trust the Rakshasas. They're always crooked. So saying this, Garuda offered his respects, circumambulated Sri Ramachandra and said, Sakhe Raghava Dharmagya Ripunamiva Vatsalaha Abhyanugyatumicchami Gamishyami Yathasukam. I now plan to return back happily. Now there is a word for Sri Ramachandra. Ripunam api Vatsala. Ramachandra has Vatsalya, love for everybody, including enemies. And he says, don't think too much about our friendship, because Ramachandra thinks, he's saying I'm his friend, I've never met him. How can he be so much my friend? What does he mean he's my friend? So he says, don't worry too much, don't think about it. You will conquer Lanka, you will kill Ravana, and you will surely get Sita Devi back. Saying so, Garuda walked around Sri Ramachandra and very quickly ascended back into the sky. Now, as soon as they saw Ramachandra and Lakṣmaņa fully back to their glory, skin shining, intelligence back into its thing, the eyes are looking sharp, their bodies are glowing, the monkey started beating kettle drums. They started shouting, singing, and striking their tails to the ground and started jumping. Because suddenly now they have full strength, energy, enthusiasm, zest for fighting this war because their lords are back. And this loud yelling, shouting, crying of joy became so loud. It seemed like the thundering of clouds at the end of summer, which means at the beginning of rainy season. And everything is so hot, and suddenly massive clouds. Right now in India, monsoon is setting in, if not already, and these big clouds come in and they have this rumbling sound. And with the rumbling sound, everybody becomes hopeful that there will be rains, there will be relief from this summer. And for the monkeys, the summer is the heat, the burning of this sadness that Rama and Lakṣmaņa had been killed. Or Rama is talking of killing himself and Lakṣmaņa was dead. So with that, we end chapter 50 of the Yuddha Kanda. Let's see if you have any questions or comments or thoughts. Any thoughts, comments, questions? I got to put on my headphones so I can hear you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Atulya Devidasi. Please accept my humble
Yes,
obeisance.
Atulya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you mentioned when Lord Ram was glorifying Lakshman being a very unique brother, he said that I can find a person like Mother Sita, right? Did I hear it correctly that he can
correct.
find? But I just want to understand, the heart of Lord Ram here. Like Mother Sita is very dear to him, and she's very unique. I mean, I do not know if there's anybody else like Mother Sita. So why would he mix? It could seem like he's devaluing Mother Sita. So how do I understand this properly?
Who knows the heart of Sri Ramachandra? So let's complicate it even further. Not only Sita. Just some time ago, when Vibhishana was waiting, at that time, Ramachandra told Sugriva There is no brother as great as Bharata. There is no son as great as I, and no friend as great as you, Sugriva. And Lakshmana is standing right there. Some people
Hmm.
asked me, Lakshmana did not feel bad that he's saying Bharata is such a great brother. And now here he says, I can find another wife like Sita, but I cannot find one like you. So, two things. It's not a devaluing of Sita Devi. Sometimes it is called, at least one of the explanations we can give is, there is a Nyaya called Nahi Ninda Nyaya. Nahi Ninda Nyaya is to show the glory of one. We say something about the other, but there is no Ninda, there is no blasphemy towards that person. For example, we hear the devotees are more merciful than the Lord. Does it mean that the Lord is not merciful? No. He is the limit of mercy. But when we say devotees are more merciful, it's the nahi ninda nyaya. It doesn't diminish the value of the Lord or His mercy. It's a nyaya. It's a way of saying to show how great the devotees are. It's a way of expressing. So in his love for Lakshmana, it's a words of gratitude for what Lakshmana has done. Sita came to the forest just for that fact. In Ramachandra's mind, Sita came to the forest because she's my wife. She has a duty, an obligation to go. Although I never forced her, she exercised that. And since Kaikeyi asked that I should go to the forest, in one sense, it's natural that my wife will follow me. That's the dharma. It was not 2025, so he could be confident that his wife will follow him. But Lakshmana volunteered on his own to come and live a life of a mendicant, or not mendicant, a ascetic. Ramachandra had to wear tree bark and mat his hair with banyan tree sap. Lakshmana also wore the same clothes. Lakshmana also matted his hair. Lakshmana also did not eat anything that was cooked or entered or did not live the life of luxury. Ramachandra at least had his wife. Lakshmana did not even have his wife with him for company or good words. He only served. Ramachandra is considering, at least I rested at night. Lakshmana did not even sleep. And whenever I was in distress, it was Lakshmana who spoke words of consolation, words of inspiration, and gave me strength. In fact, Ramachandra says in Aranyakanda, Lakshmana, you have done such a wonderful service that I don't feel the loss of my father. He doesn't say I don't feel of our father, my father. I'm saying I don't feel the loss of your father. Because the point is, Lakshmana for you, the father figure, hmm, Dasharatha is no more. For me, I don't feel the loss of a father because you're there taking care of me like a loving father. So I don't feel that loss. You feel it. So all of this love combined, when he sees that wonderful Lakshmana lying down there, then it's an uh, outpouring of love. And when love in separation comes out, the outpouring, sometimes it says that the talk is illogical. So we should not find logic in this. That's the
Thank you so
nature of love in separation.
so much depth and beauty, Prabhu.
Mm,
Thank you.
Vipralamba bhav. Thank you, Atulya. Anyone else? Someone asked, how can Rama and Lakshmana covered every inch with arrows and captured by Nagastra at the same? So these Nagastras are those arrows that, in addition to them, what Indrajit did is he, I guess, paralyzed them and then shot a bunch of arrows on them because the Nagastras hold them captive. And said it or makes them unconscious. They can't move. And then he shot arrows. But by Garuda's presence, all of them were released. Yeah. Then he says, thank you for the details. Details are very sweet. Yeah, they're sweet and relatable like anything. I agree. Thank you, Stira. I hope, Paco, that answers your question. Okay. Final one. Any thoughts, questions? Yeah, go ahead, Patricia.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Are we going to find out in next session why Garuda said he's friend of Rama?
No.
Do we know who he is?
Do we know who Garuda is?
Yeah, as in, was he a reincarnation of somebody close to Rama? That's why he said he's a friend.
Well, who is the constant carrier of Lord Vishnu? Garuda.
Yeah.
He's a constant companion, friend, servant. So that Garuda has come to assist. But Ramachandra is in the bhav of a human being. And his identity as the human being continues. Even when Lord Brahma comes later and says, you are the supreme personality of Godhead, Ramachandra says, no, no, no. I'm a human being. I'm the son of Dasharatha. So it remains like that. But Garuda said, don't think too much about it. Don't think about it. So it's gone. The lesson, I guess, for us is when we don't see any way out of a situation and we deeply depend on the Lord, or our prayers there, then we don't know from where, what kind of help, who from in somewhere out of the blue will come and open a door for us. It happens. Complete strangers will show up and do something, say something, help out in a way. Many situations are there. I've heard many stories about people experiencing like that. So when one is centered around dharma, living a life, my spiritual master calls it living conducting oneself in a theistic way, theistic conduct of life. When one is in the shelter of Brahmanas or great Vaishnavas and the Supreme Lord, then from somewhere, somehow, someone will be the instrument of the Lord to come to our aid. And suddenly Garuda showed up as an antidote to the Nagastras. So that's the situation. They had to be relieved of the Nagastras and Garuda showed up. So like that, someone has to be relieved of some distress, disease, difficulty, sadness. Somebody would come and help them. That is a stroke of mercy that we may not be aware of. When we don't see any pathway, someone shows us a path. That hope we should keep.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll end here. Thank you. And see you next week when a new episode will unfold in this fascinating story. The war, because now they're all happy, the war takes on a level and scale that we may not have heard of at all. There are descriptions of how they fought with each other. Oh, I hope I can narrate it, but it's fascinating. So until we meet them, may Sita, Rama, Lakshmana, Hanuman always be on our sides. May their loving glances befall upon us. May we not lose hope even when it looks like there is no hope. May we not lose courage, strength, or even the zest for life when there is so much around us that we may not be able to see. But definitely the Lord will intervene and give us a pathway for the next step, for the next phase, for the next day, for the next moment to look forward to hold on to their wonderful lotus feet. Sita Rāma Lakṣmaņa Hanuman Ji ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.